Ben Staunton with Brunswick Area Television, and today in the studio I have with me Kellie Docherty, who's a conservation educator with the Medina County Soil and Water Conservation District, and Bill Stitt, who's a volunteer with the office. Thanks for coming into the studio today.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Now we have a very important topic to talk about, and we'll get to that in just a moment, but I'd like to get to know you a little bit before we get started. So Kellie, if you want to tell us a little bit about your experience and how you ended up getting into this field.
Yeah, well, I attended school in West Virginia, and there I fell in love with the environment, with plants, and connecting people to those resources. And when I moved to Ohio, I volunteered here at Soil and Water. I volunteered around the national park, doing a lot of restoration work. And I really liked the education portion of the whole environmental field. And so when this position opened up, I applied, and here I am now.
Very good, and that education part's going to come in handy in just a little bit when we get to the topic of today's television program. And then Bill, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how you got involved in this kind of work?
I've always been interested in the outdoors, but about 10 years ago I started volunteering for Medina County Parks, and I've also then started volunteering for the Soil and Water District, and I have a lot of interest in native bees and habitat, and that's what brought me here today.
Okay, very good. I've done some research online, but I surely don't know as much about this topic as you. So we have an invasive species here in Medina County, and it's not just here, I'm assuming, and you can get into that as a little bit. But what is this invasive species?
Yeah, so we're going to focus a little bit on the Bradford pear, also known as Cleveland pear, Callery pear. There's many different variations of it, and it's planted around our communities and streets and our developments, just all over, and has escaped into our environment and has become invasive.
Some of the research that I've done online says like mid-1960s, this tree was introduced here. It's native to what, China and Vietnam. How did we end up with it here in the U.S.?
So it was thought to be the perfect tree. You know, it has pretty shape, it has pretty flowers, it's a good size, and so they brought it over, and it was thought to be sterile as well, so they thought it wouldn't spread, it wouldn't create a mess. But when we start introducing other variations of the Callery pear, like we had a Bradford pear, we have the Cleveland pear, those started to cross-pollinate, and then they would start reproducing and producing seeds. And so the birds would eat the seeds, and they'd fly over to the next town and into a field, and there you go, the plant is starting to spread. So it does really well because the climate in Asia is very similar to the climate here in Ohio, and so they start to outcompete our native species.
So you're talking about 3 different trees, or is this the same tree going by 3 different names?
Yeah, they're all the same tree. Callery pear is the one people mostly focus on, and then they took that and they made the Bradford pear, the Cleveland pear. There's all kinds of variations of the Callery pear, but they're all the same tree.
Okay, and when you say pear tree, a lot of people would think, oh, I can go out there and pick a delicious pear off of this tree and eat it. That's not necessarily the case, is it?
No, it's not the same as the pears in our grocery stores that people grow in the farms and stuff.
How is it impacting the ecosystem here? What is the negative effects that it's having on the ecosystem here?
Well, the biggest problem is it's not native, and the native animals here, insects and herbivores, don't eat it. And so when it spreads into the environment, it outcompetes the other native plants because the native plants are getting nibbled on, and meanwhile the Callery pear is just growing very quickly, and then it shades out our native plants. If you drive around the county, when the tree is blooming, you'll see many wild areas that are just nothing but Callery pear. They've outcompeted everything.
And so you're saying, when you say spreading, they were originally supposed to be, what'd you say, sterile. So they were supposed to start out in one spot and just grow there. They were supposed to be like an ornamental tree.
Yes.
But what you're saying now is they've upped the game, and they've decided that they can do all these other things, and now they're spreading. So when you say spreading, are you talking like there's a couple here and there, or are they going everywhere?
They're everywhere. So when you're driving around the county and your communities, if you drive by an empty field, they're absolutely filled with one species, which we call a monoculture. Whereas if you go to the woods, you'll see 20, 30, 40 different trees and shrubs and flowers, and that's like a biodiverse community, and it supports a larger number of wildlife. But the calorie pair doesn't support any wildlife. It supports the adult insects and the adult birds and wildlife, and not so much the juvenile and larva species. So it's creating these big monocultures.
Okay, so now this tree, it's been on the radar for a little while here, I guess, all over the United States. But something kind of pivotal happened here in Ohio. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so about 5 years ago in 2018, the Ohio Department of Agriculture, they put out a list of invasive species to the Ohio Invasive Species Plant Council. They put this list of plants together, and it includes the autumn olive and the bush honeysuckle as well, along with the purple loosestrife. However, the calorie pear being on that list is huge at garden centers. A lot of people buy it for their properties, so they gave them a 5-year grace period to just get rid of all of their stock and sell them all. So here in 2023, the tree officially became illegal to buy, sell, and plant in the state of Ohio. So nurseries no longer sell them. You're not allowed to buy them somewhere else and bring them into Ohio and plant them, which is really good news, because having them planted everywhere in these shopping centers and housing developments and neighborhoods was really detrimental to our habitat.
Okay, so what is the hopes and dreams of Ohio? To have everybody go down and find these trees in their yard, cut them down and remove them? What about these large fields of them where they've already grown and taken up residency? Are those trees now, are we hoping that people will go out and just start cutting them down who own that property? Or how do we hope to get some kind of, I guess, leash back on this issue?
Well, the first thing we want to do is a program like this. We make people aware of it. Fortunately, a lot of people are already aware that the tree's invasive. So we'll start with this program. In the Park District, we spend many hours removing these, not only the calorie pear, but the bush honeysuckle, autumn olive. And if we can get people to remove some on their own property, businesses, just start the ball rolling. And it's a big problem. So the way we look at it is we'll worry about Medina County. There are fortunately other people in other groups in other counties that are doing the same thing as us. So if we can deal with Medina County, hopefully the other counties will do the same thing, and we can really knock this back.
Okay, so we had a tree that was of this variety here in the area, and some of your volunteers graciously came and removed that tree. You want to talk a little bit about what they did to remove that tree, and what they did to kind of, I guess, stop it from spreading or continuing to grow. And then we'll watch a video here right after you talk about it a little bit of them actually removing the tree and what they did.
Yeah, so what we want to do is we're going to wait until after June 21st we're using as a date. So right now the tree is taking nutrients from the roots and spurring the growth in the spring, so everything's going up into the tree. So when we cut these trees down, we want to herbicide them so that they don't re-sprout. So after June 21st, the tree will start photosynthesizing and sending energy back into the roots. And at that point is when we want to cut it down, put just a little bit of herbicide on the stump, and that should keep it from coming back or root sprouting.
Very nice. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take a look at that video now. We'll be back right after this.
Cutting the limbs off.
We don't take the sign out. It doesn't take some weight. Nicely done, Travis.
I really wanted it.
So now he's treeing the stump so that the tree doesn't grow back.
Just the outside edge here where the living layer is.
Well, I think that was a very informative video about what's going on with the trees and taking it out. But I'm assuming that that's not going to be the case for everybody. You're not going to be able to have a volunteer come to everybody's house and
Right.
take down a tree for them and everything else. So is there some kind of list of contractors if somebody doesn't necessarily know who to contact or where to find information for somebody to come out and remove a tree? Do you have any information about that?
Yeah, so on our website, which can be found at Medina Soil and Water Conservation District's website, we will have a list of contractors that will help remove trees, some of which are providing a discount for this program specifically, and that can all be found on the website because, of course, not everybody can cut down their own tree,
Sure.
you know.
And if someone is interested in getting a replacement tree, let's say that they can remove it themselves, or they did have a contractor cut it down. I know that you have a limited amount of trees available. How would somebody get in contact with you to prove that they took one down, first of all, and second of all, that they need one to replace it?
Yeah, so once they cut that tree down, or maybe their autumn olive or bush honeysuckle, they would take proof of them with their downed tree, smiling, exciting that they have removed this invasive species. And then on our website, we have a photo submission form. They enter their name, where this tree was, and the photo, among some other information for us. And then I'll look over it and say, yep, that is a calorie pear, or that's a bush honeysuckle, or an autumn olive. And then I send them a message and say, hey, you qualify for a new native tree. Here's our list, which can be seen ahead of time on our website. And they pick the one they want. And in September, there's going to be a native plant festival at Owens Logger Nature Center. And they pick up the tree there.
So I heard some rumors that you secured a grant to get the trees that you're using in the buyback program. How did you go about that?
Yeah, so we applied to the Dominion Energy and Western Reserve Land Conservancy. They have a mini watershed grant for anyone doing work in their watersheds to improve the health. And we applied and received that grant. And then the Rocky River Watershed Partners also donated a good amount of money to us as well to surplus that grant. And with that, we bought trees, supplies to help grow the trees as well. And we hope that we can continue getting the donation from the Rocky River or any other donors and other grants to continue this program every year.
Fantastic. If anybody wants more information or they want to contact you or they want to visit your website, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, they would either give us a call at Medina Soil and Water's office. They can visit our website, or they can send me an email and about any questions they may have or how they might go across, about going to do this program.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us before we wrap up the show today?
Well, I'd just like to thank Soil and Water, Medina County Park District, Dominion Energy, Western Reserve, and the Rocky River Watershed Partners for supporting this program and helping this all come together. Because we really want to help build the foundation to a healthy ecosystem, and it's all possible through many people helping out.
Sounds great. Well, I'd like to thank both of you for being here today. It was a lot of great information, a lot for people to digest, but it is actually something that can help the ecosystem to be happy and healthy so that we can move on and do a lot of great things. So I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being able to do this for the citizens of Medina County. So.
Yeah, thanks for
Our
having
pleasure.
us.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank you for watching, and hopefully you learned something very important about this invasive species and how we can get Ohio moving in the right direction to not have them in our area. Since the dawn of time, humans have worked tirelessly to better themselves. Through advancements both big and small, we have come to stand where we are today. At Brunswick Area Television, we do not rest on our laurels, and advancements propel us forward as well. BAT now offers podcasting to all Brunswick residents to communicate with the world beyond our community. For more information, visit brunswick.oh.us or call 330-220-1726 and be the future today.